This is an Aston Martin DBX, the best looking luxury performance SUV in my book. And apparently, there's a SAIC designer in the Anting Auto City in Shanghai, just several kilometers away from my house, shares the same thought. So here comes this IM LS7. You probably can't see this car anywhere outside of China, but recently the news is that SAIC Audi will be using the platform of this LS7 to produce their next smart EV, which basically means that Audi is sort of surrendering to Chinese automakers. So let's have a quick look at why this car can be the chosen one. And here are 5 things I like and dislike about this LS7. I'm Harris, you're watching Matt EV. Although the back is pretty much identical to the Aston Martin DBX, to be honest, the entire design is not that appealing, especially the high roof and the swollen body that make this huge SUV appears to be much smaller on camera. Frankly, this ratio might be more suitable for small cars, say the MG4 EV, which is also from SAIC. A rooftop LiDAR is basically a standard for the Chinese EVs, but the LS7 took a different approach, as it has 2 LiDARs that are located on 2 corners of the roof front. And much to my surprise, between these 2, there's something that has absolutely nothing to do with ADAS, 3 48-megapixel camera just for vlogging. I'm sorry, I just cannot understand why they decided to do this. It's uglier, pointless, and doubles the cost. Just like the new-gen Tesla, the LS7 has a steering yoke, and this one is a complete disaster. It still has a high steering ratio, so with half the wheel gone, it could be very annoying, especially when turning low speed. Actually, the advantages of a yoke is also apparent. It leaves more room for the legs, it obstructs less view, and it's easier to stow away when fully autonomous driving becomes possible in the future. But now, without steer-by-wire and variable steering ratio, the yoke is certainly a danger to your life. Looking at this bit, you can tell that the wheel arch is not very well executed. This doesn't seem to be big of a deal for the boot, but the one at the front will certainly cause trouble for the passenger, because their left foot will be like this. I have to say that the last time I saw a car that treats a passenger's feet this bad was a Dodge Ram 1500. Rubbish! Apparently, people from all over the world are complaining about the lack of physical buttons in EVs, but IM took it even further. They changed the window control to touch button. Even some of them have haptic feedback. They are still, well, there's no other words to describe it, rubbish. I do want to say to those product managers, I understand you want your car to stand out, but please, just stop messing with the components that are frequently used. But thankfully, they did something right. It's hard to tell from the outside, but it's actually an enormous car, over 5 meters long, over 2 meters wide, and over 3 meters of wheelbase. So the space inside is still guaranteed. Especially the headroom. At 6'3", I hardly get this much headroom in other cars. Of course, the huge space is also owing to the massive windshield, which is very similar to the Model X. I've never driven a Model X before, so when I sit in the car for the first time, I was completely shocked by this windshield, because the view is just phenomenal. It even makes me feel like I'm driving a spaceship. So I have to take my hat off to Tesla, because the Model X has already been around for 8 years. Out of all the eye-catching designs in this car, this zero-gravity seat in the back stands out the most. Thanks to the spacious inside and the passenger seat that can be folded and stowed, it can really give you a remarkable ride, even make you feel like you are sitting in the back of a German limousine. In the meantime, the other seats are also pretty comfy to sit in. As a family SUV, it naturally won't be as sporty as the Aston Martin DBX. But with 578 horsepower, 4.5-second 0-100 acceleration, 22-inch wheels, 4-piston Brembo calipers, double wishbone suspensions, it was destined to excel at vehicle dynamics. And it does. The throttle is precise, the steering is agile, and the lateral support is adequate. Plus, the air springs and CDC also guarantee the extra comfort, as they can filter out a lot of unwanted body movements. Let's not forget, the chassis of their very first car, the L7, was actually tuned by Williams, the Formula One team. You see, this car is similar in size and performance to the BMW iX, but it's much cheaper, just starting at the same price at the BMW iX3 that even has a 25% dealership discount. Even though it's more affordable, it's still made with premium materials and can easily compete with those German luxury SUVs of its size. Let's face it, Chinese cars can truly give you the best bang for your buck. Looking at the numbers, it really seems to be a very great EV. But in fact, it did not sell that well. Because compared to the competitors, it's not as attentive as NIO, not as perceptive as Li Auto, not as high-tech as XPeng, and not as influential as Huawei. But these four brands all have products at the same price point and similar positioning as the LS7. This is how competitive the auto market in China has become, and it will be more intense in the future.